afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I hope you're having a great day. Last time we were talking about graphs, but we were making our own picture graph with some information from a tally chart, right? This time we're going to do something a little bit different. We're still going to make a graph, but instead of a tally chart, we're going to use this chart over here, and we're going to make a bar graph out of it. Okay, so let's read what this question says up here. It says, Alec counted the days it snowed. He wanted to compare snow days by month. Make a bar graph to answer the questions. So he kept track of every day it snowed in every month. So in December, it snowed 5 days. January, it snowed 9. February, it snowed 6. And March, it snowed 2. But when we work with a bar graph, where do we stop with the coloring? Because we're going to have to color a bar going straight up. And if we have 5, do we stop at the line right here? Or are we going to stop at the line after the 5? So on the 5 or after the 5? Which one is it? We would stop at the line that is at the 5. All right? So I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm not going to have you sit through all my doodling. We're going to fast forward, and I'm going to show you what the bar graph should look like for 5 days of snow. Okay, I finished, and this is what the bar graph should look like. See how the color goes straight up this column, and it stops right at the line where the number 5 is? That would tell me that there was 5 days of snow for December. Now, for January, there was 9. So what number or what line would I stop at for the number 9? I mean, that's the last number. It's up top here. Does that mean I stop at the line that's going to be at the 9? Or the next line, which is above the 9? I'm going to want to stop at the line at the 9. So, because remember, when you go up the bar graph, you follow the bar, wherever it stops, you stop and you go over, and it'll take you to that number. Because if we went to the tippy top, that would actually be 10. If we went to the tippy top of this chart, that would actually make it 10. And we don't have 10 days of snow here. So let's fast forward now, and I'll show you how it should look like for 9 days of snow. All right, I finished January, and if you take a look at it, I made January green to make sure it stands out and we don't get confused at all. So I follow this bar straight up, 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 and it stops at this line. I go over, and it takes me to that 9. And we had 9 days in January, and I have the bar graph going up to number 9. So we are all good to go. So let's take a look at February. How many days does February have? It has 6. So, in your head, think real quick, what line should I stop at to show 6 days of snow? Should I stop at this first one right here? Should I stop at the second one? Or this third one? Which line out of the 3 lines I circled should I stop at? Go ahead, just point to it on your screen. Which one? I'm hoping you're all pointing at that second line I circled right here. That second line that I circled, if we stop there and go over, it would bring us to the 6. So, I'm not going to make you guys sit through me, drawing a bar graph. So, let's fast forward so you can see what this bar graph should look like. Alright, I finished my bar graph. Let's check it. February has 6 days. Let's make sure my bar graph says the same thing. I follow the red bar that I made. I go up and up and up. I stop at this line where my bar stops. I go over, and it takes me to the 6. So I did it right because they're both saying 6. And the last one is March, which only has 2. So I'm going to circle 3 dots. Which one should I stop at for this bar graph? The first, second, or third? So go ahead and just point to the line that you think I should stop at for this bar graph. All right. I hope that again that you are pointing at this second circle. That would be the correct line for me to stop at. So again, let's just fast forward to me showing you what this bar graph should look like to show 2 days in March. Okay, here we go. See how the blue bar that I made? I follow it going up. When that bar stops, I stop. I go over, and it takes me to number 2. And they're saying that there was 2 snow days in March. So these numbers match. So I did a really good job right there. So let's see what kind of questions they're going to ask us about this fancy bar graph that we made. It says, which month had the most snow days? So the important word is most. And most means a lot or a little. It means a lot. So a lot, the most. So which one had the highest number of days? Is it December, January, February, or March? It's January. So on this line, I would just write the month. I would say January. All right. And let's look at this last question here. It says, which month had the fewest snow days? So the fewest is the least. That's the important word we're looking at. Fewest, least, the smallest number. Which month has the smallest number of snow days? Is it December, January, February, or March? It's March. See how the bar is the lowest one? So the bar graph really helped us out with that because it made it really obvious which one had the smallest number of snow days because it's the smallest bar. It really stands out. So on this line, I would write March. And there we go. So for this next part, you're going to need to get your math workbooks like we usually do. It is the black one with the blue butterfly. And the paper you're going to look for is the one that says 14-7 on it. And I'm going to bring up the same page also. The paper that you should be seeing, it is 14-7, and at the very tippy top, it should say reteach. Just want to make sure you guys can see that it is the same thing that I have right here. See at the very top it says reteaching, and then 14-7, and we're going to skip this top part, and I'm going to explain why in just one moment. So if you want to, if you're feeling reckless and crazy or hyper, you can put an X through it. We're not going to mess with that because I know you guys can probably read bar graphs pretty well. I'm more concerned about you working on a bar graph with me and on how to build one. Because your assignment for tonight is really just going to be reading a bar graph and not so much making one. But I would really, really like for you to practice making one with me. So we're going to focus on this bottom part. So at the bottom, for number 1, is where we're starting. It says, ask your classmates to select their favorite snack. And this is a big bummer because we're not in a classroom with all our friends. Man, we don't get a chance to go around and ask them. But that's okay. I'm going to give you some numbers off the top of my head. And also based off of what I see from when we have fruit in the classroom. So I'm going to say that, let's say 4 voted for yogurt. And then I'm going to say at least 9 friends voted for fruit. So these are the numbers we're going to work with to make our bar graph. So we have 4 for yogurt and 9 for fruit. I'm sure if we asked all of our friends in the classroom, we would have tons of our friends saying fruit. So that's why I picked that number. So with the crayons and colored pencils that I hope that you went and got, if you have not gotten them yet, please pause the video and go get those crayons or colored pencils. Because if you were to use a pencil to work on this bar graph, it might just, look a little confusing. Or, maybe it might look, maybe sloppy. I don't know. But I just know with some color, with some crayons, it would be more fun to make. 2, it'd be more fun to look at. So now that we have our numbers, I would love for you to make your bar graph for our friends that picked yogurt. So the friends that picked yogurt, which is 4, go ahead and color in this bar graph the correct way. So that way it reads 4 votes for yogurt. Okay? Now I know it might take you a little bit to color. So what I would like for you to do is hit the pause button. And what I'm going to do is fast forward time a little bit for my paper to magically show the 4 votes and how your paper should also look. So make sure you hit that pause button, and then when you're finished coloring, then hit play. And here you go. Here is how your bar graph should look. It starts at the 0, right there. So right where the word yogurt is, that line is where your bar should start, and it goes all the way out till you hit the bar that lines up with the number 4. Or if it's easier for you, the one thing you could always do is actually find the number 4, go up, and then start coloring the blocks going backwards. That is also fine. You can 100% do that if it makes it a little bit easier or if it just makes more sense. I mean, go for it. It's all about what works best for you, and I've been saying that since the beginning. So now that we have the yogurt bar filled up, let's take a look at the fruit number. So our fruit has 9 votes. So that means we have to find 9 on this bar graph and show me what your bar graph should look like with the votes for fruit. Now, what I'm going to do, of course, again, is fast forward time. And I'm going to show you what the bar graph should look like with 9 votes. So make sure you hit that pause button and you fill in your graph first to test yourself. It's always fun to test yourself to make sure you know it. And then after you fill up the bar graph the way you think it should look, hit play to make sure it matches what I did. All right? So hit that pause button. All right, now let's fast forward and see what that bar graph should look like. Okay, and here is the bar graph I made. See how it goes, the color goes all the way up to the number 9? That very last bar right here, and that's where it stops, and that line is right next to the number 9, which is exactly what we want. So this now shows that there were 9 votes for fruit. Now we can go down and answer these questions. So number 2 says, which snack is the favorite? So the word favorite, do you think that's going to be the one with the most votes? Or the one with like the smallest amount of votes? It's going to be the one with the most votes. So write down which snack had the most votes. Which one was the favorite? I'll give you guys a couple seconds to write that word down on the line. All right, that should have been enough time. Let's see. So yogurt has 4, and fruit has 9, which is the bigger number. 9 is the bigger number, so that means fruit is the favorite. What's your favorite fruit? Is it pears? Is it peaches, oranges? I know most of my friends in my classroom love having pears, especially when they're nice and ripe. So let's look at number 3 now. How many children selected fruit? How many votes were there for fruit? Go ahead and write the number down on the line right there. I'll just give you another couple seconds. All right, should be done that already because you're just writing down a number. It's pretty easy to figure out. So how many children should select the fruit that we talked about? 9. So we'll just write the number 9. Or if you want to write the word for the number, that's fine too. Nine. It's the same thing. This is just how you write it as a word. All right. So now let's go over your assignment for today. So you're going to turn the page onto the side that says practice. Here is what your paper should look like for your assignment today. So make sure that the page that we were just working on, you turn the page, and on the other side will be this. At the very top, it says practice, and oopsies. At the very top, it says practice, and then underneath it says 14-7. All right, and they kind of did a lot of work for you. So if you want to make this a little bit more interesting looking, because let's face it, these gray blocks get kind of boring. Go ahead and color them in, make it fun. Okay, and the directions say use the chart. The chart shows what kinds of stickers the children like. Use the bar graph to answer the questions. Before you even get started, have fun and make sure that you kind of color in these gray, boring blocks, something a little bit exciting. Just make sure that every row has a different color. You cannot use the same color twice or else it might get a little confusing for you. All right? So for example, you could make flowers red, and then you could do, let's see, you could do green for bird stamps, and then you could do blue for boats, and then you could go crazy and do, I don't know, purple for dogs, and then just match up those colors. That's it. So yeah, go have fun with this first. Get those crayons moving. And let's read number 1. I'm going to read this with you. So now what we're going to do is they gave you the information here, right? And they're showing you that they took this information and they put it into this bar graph. They showed the same exact thing. And we're going to be using this information to answer every single question. So if you're not too sure what to do for a question, make sure you look back at this bar graph, okay? That's all. We're just always using this bar graph. So number 1 says, which sticker do children like the most? All right, so I can't tell you anything more because we've gone over these special words quite a bit. So out of all these kinds of stickers, which one do kids like the most? Number 2 says, how many fewer children choose flower stickers than bird stickers? There's another special word in that sentence, okay? I'm not going to tell you what it is this time because we've repeated it so many times, I think you guys already know it. All right, so practice just recognizing these words and solve this one. All the information you need is in this bar graph. And then there is another question down here. It says number 3. Oh, let me scroll up a little bit more. There we go. It says, which of the following shows the stickers in order from most favorite to least favorite? You guys know these special words in this question, all right? So if it helps you when you're reading through these questions, circle those important words, okay? And then put all these kinds of stickers in that correct order. All right, so that's your assignment for today, guys. That's it. If you have questions, make sure you ask your teacher. As soon as you finish your assignment, make sure mom and dad take a picture of it, send it in to your teacher when you're done. All right? So I hope you guys are having fun with these graphs and charts and stuff. I think it's something different, something fun, something kind of entertaining. And plus, we get to color. I mean, doesn't get any better than that. So, Make sure that you focus well on your work, you do everything correctly, and I will see you guys next time.